The next arc of Sword Art Online Season 2 Caliber has officially begun. Now, I want to talk about something real quick before I get really deep into this review of this episode. Okay, so there is one thing I knew for a fact they were going to have to change in this episode. Now, as we all know, majority of fans are watching Sword Art Online Season 2 know how Season 1 was. Well, in Season 1, in the entire bit with Fairy Dance, when we saw, Kirito trying to save Asuna in the top of the World Tree, well, we were supposed to see that entire flashback that was at the beginning of this episode with Tonki. We were supposed to see that entire sequence in Season 1. I'm not joking. We were supposed to see that in Season 1. And so, I was kind of curious how exactly they would fit in that backstory with this episode, like trying to make us understand Caliber from that perspective. The only thing that sucks is because it feels like they just threw it on top of you, and it doesn't feel like it was built up for that long, and that's the only thing I felt that was bad. But besides that, I like the way they explained it. At the very least, they went down in nitty-gritty details and explained exactly, what Tonki is, the Frost Giants to the Hill Giants. They explained the Excalibur. They explained the trip with Kirito and his sister going down there and trying to discover it. And so, pretty much, they explained everything you needed to know, but it didn't have as great as impact since they had to just sling it in right now since they didn't do it in Season 1. Now, besides that, let's actually talk about this episode. Okay, this episode, for the most part, can be looked at as exposition and a setup episode. That's exactly what this is. If you go down to the nitty-gritty, it is definitely a setup episode for the Caliber arc. We pretty much had a lot of exposition in this episode to let us know what to expect, what is coming, what they are doing, what the plot is about this arc, and that's pretty much what we got. For instance, what we learned is that Kirito and his entire band and group have to go kill this Frost King that's in this Frost Kingdom or whatever, in this little pyramid looking thing, upside down pyramid. Well, you have it to where Kirito and the gang has to go in there, slay this dude, and they have to retrieve Excalibur. That's exactly what was laid out before us by this girl that popped up, supposedly one of the sisters of the land, of the Hill Giants. So, this entire bit, when it was introducing this concept with the NPCs, like both NPC factions fighting each other, that really reminded me of some different events I've seen in other RPGs. Actually, this type of stuff happens a lot in RPGs. It does. I've seen this, where you have two different humanoid classes, or a beast class and a humanoid class, fight each other, and you can choose which side you want to be on and which one you want to survive. And so, with that aspect, I felt like this overall arc is actually kind of realistic if you think about it to the overall MMORPG aspect. Now, this episode, I loved it for a lot of different reasons. There was enough comedy in this episode to keep anyone entertained if you like Sword Art Online comedy. It had some great overall vibes to it, feels, atmosphere with the music, animation was good, and I felt like the overall build-up of what they did at the end of this episode got a lot of people hyped. I'm especially hyped. Even though I've read the light novel, I am really hyped for this arc. Now, the new opening song. We have a new opening song this week, and that opening song, I'm just gonna tell you right now, oh shit, that opening song, that opening song is good. Oh, they don't really spoil that much in the opening song, which is good. I mean, they do and don't. They don't spoil stuff I thought they would spoil, but they didn't, thank God. I'll give a clap to that. They didn't spoil too much. Now, I didn't see much of Mother Rosario's arc in this opening song, so I'm kind of curious exactly how they're going to fit Mother Rosario into this season, since it has been announced that Mother Rosario will be adapted this season. I'm just curious exactly, are they going to change the opening song, or are they going to fit in new scenes into the opening song once we get done with Caliber? But either way, okay, this episode, I love the remix music. The remix music of the original Sword Art Online soundtrack, that was nice. It really gave a good atmosphere to this episode. I don't know if I'm the only one that really enjoyed the original Sword Art Online soundtrack, and hearing that soundtrack once again, re-updated and just remixed a little bit, that just made me like, hell fucking yeah. Hopefully we get some epic battle music, like you remember the Goat Demon or whatever, or the Blue Goat Demon from the first season? Remember that soundtrack that played right there? I think it was called Swordland. Imagine if that song plays with the upcoming, Frost Giant King or whatever. I mean, imagine if we hear that type of music. That'd be so fucking epic. Okay, so, oh yes, I do want to mention a couple things that were kind of removed, and I need to go in details and actually explain. Okay, as I already said earlier in this, review, I pretty much said that they, of course, had to put that exposition with the flashback with Tonki and all that type of stuff to explain to us, how this elephant, squid, jellyfish creature is flying, why they're on their side, and why is it doing that. there's one thing technically they kind of removed from that. It was the entire bit where Kirito and his sister is trying to save this creature. They're trying to save it when it was being bullied on the ground before it got wings by a bunch of NPCs and people, and pretty much you have it to where they save it, and then it transforms and has a metamorphosis into what it is now. So the only way to get a creature like Tonki is by saving one of those creatures by the Frost Giants. So I'm just letting you know that right now. They didn't really go into details of exactly how it's made. Like, how those creatures evolve into something like that. Because what we saw down in the bottom, those creatures weren't flying when you saw Tonki flying in this episode. Now, I do want to say one other thing, which is not very important, what they omitted, but I do want to mention it anyways, because I know a lot of people are going to be questioning and asking, what the hell is with Kirito's character design? They changed Kirito's character design because in the beginning of, I think it was Gun Gale Online, I think it was Gun Gale Online, or it was somewhere after Fairy Dance, it was around in there, it was announced that Kirito removed his old avatar he used to have in Fairy Dance. Well, pretty much, he changed his avatar's appearance and all that, and he made a new avatar, and that's why he looks like more of his classical Sword Art Online look in the original first season. That's why he looks like that now. I don't know if they actually explained that or not in details, I might have forgotten, but, I mean, they're probably not going to go back to explain that. Now, like I said, wonderful episode. I'll give this episode an 8 or an 8.5 out of 10. I enjoyed the setup, and I felt like it was a really enjoyable episode to watch this week. Glad we didn't have a filler top episode. You remember last week? What the fuck? Wait, what you doing to me? 14.5? What the fuck is that? I don't want no 14.5. Yeah, apparently I'll lose memories that fast. I forgot the entire events of Gun Gale Online, somehow. But anyways, tell me your thoughts in the comments below, how you felt about this episode of Sword Art Online Season 2, The Caliber's first episode. Love you all so much. You have a wonderful day or night, wherever you live. Please be safe. Chibi out.